29 years at Great Northern Paper Company in the mill. The Korea Free Trade Agreement is bad for the workers who carry a lunch bucket similar to this. At this time, I'd like to yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Sanchez.
California is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to speak in opposition to this fatally flawed trade agreement. During a time when our top priority should be job creation, Congress is instead considering free trade agreements that will ship more American jobs overseas. Making matters worse, we need to make sure that our current trade laws are being enforced. This Korea FTA will allow China to dump even more cheap goods into the U.S. without paying proper duties. And we're not talking about just a couple of dollars here either. Chinese companies fraudulently labeled many of their products as made in Korea to the tune of $153 million last year. This fraud will mean lost jobs and lost revenue here in the United States. If this agreement passes, more Chinese companies will ignore our trade laws. I think we can all agree that we should be working towards supporting our manufacturing sector, not making it easier for China to cheat us. Working families in this country deserve better than this flawed agreement, and for that reason I am urging my colleagues to vote against it. Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman's time has expired. Gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Camp.
Thank you. At this time, I yield 1 minute to a distinguished member of the Ways and Means Committee, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Marchant.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of these free trade agreements. Simply put, the trade agreements create more jobs, increased exports, and broaden economic growth. At a time when the United States unemployment hovers around 9%, including 8.5% in Texas, engines of job growth are needed. As the Independent International Trade Commission points out, the three trade agreements would increase U.S. exports by $13 billion. While more jobs are good news for the country as a whole, Texas in particular stands to benefit from increased trade. In today's globalized economy, Texas depends more than ever on world exports. Businesses in the Dallas-Fort Worth area are positioned for big gains. DFW Airport, one of the world's leading trade gateways, already handles almost 65% of all international air cargo in Texas. The trade agreements would increase shipments of goods from DFW to some of the most lucrative Latin American and Asian markets. DFW Airport alone has 5 direct flights every week to South Korea. Madam Speaker, I'm in support of the trade agreements.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Levin.
I now yield 2 minutes to another distinguished member of our committee, Mr. Blumenauer of the great state of Oregon.
Gentleman from Oregon is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. On balance, the package of measures moving forward is a constructive development for America's economy and particularly for my state of Oregon. The people I represent will see increased sales abroad of machinery, technology, and agricultural products. This in turn will lead to increased activity at our ports. Beef exports from Oregon will increase to help our state's farmers and ranchers. This is ranging from engineering, design, the legal sector, all will increase. The Korean Free Trade Agreement means jobs for Oregonians. Some people have complained this process took too long, but I commend the administration and particularly my colleague Mr. Levin, who didn't rush to approve trade deals that weren't good enough. Dramatic improvements have been made to the Korean Free Trade Agreement, where blatant unfairness towards American automobile sales in Korea have been addressed. Indeed, this agreement is now supported by the American workers who make cars, and I commend Mr. Levin for his untiring efforts. In total, these agreements represent improvements that we can build upon, but do not signal that we can relax our efforts. There is more that can be done. We need to redouble our efforts to ensure the benefits of trade are more widely distributed and the spirit in which we discuss today, that they in fact are enforced. I've been encouraged by the renewed commitment to use the tools as they're supposed to be. I was pleased the Senate has acted on Chinese currency manipulation and that the administration's decision to impose tariffs on illegal Chinese activity in the tire market market was sustained